Hello and welcome to the Red Laugh Riot podcast. My name's Matt. And that's Ben, who is dying.
Yeah, I'm quite terribly sick this week. I don't feel that sick. I think I've gotten over it, but my voice is just a bit ruined.
It sounds
Which
awful.
has actually never happened to me before. I've never had this happen to me before. But most podcasts would be like, nah, your voice is crap. Let's not record. But we're just like, who cares? Let's do it. Because
you know why?
I don't know.
Ben's a trooper.
Yeah,
That's why.
For some reason.
Ben is a trooper.
I mean,
That's
it's really bad for me. I should be asleep right now.
Yeah,
You know?
you probably should. You should be in bed with like some hot soup or something like that. But no, you're doing a podcast.
But you know what else makes me sick?
What's that?
Reading news like the headline I'm about to read to you in this segment, which is called Reading the Headlines, where we read the top headlines on Reddit. Quote, "We don't know a planet like this." End quote. CO2 levels hit 415 ppm for first time in 3 million plus years. Quote, "How is this not breaking news on all channels all over the world?" End quote. So there's two quotes in there just to confuse you. Yeah, basically the headline is CO2 levels are real high, and apparently that's real bad for the climate.
Yep.
And no one's talking about it except for 125,000 people on Reddit, which in the grand scheme of things is not that many people.
Yeah, considering the 7 billion people on the planet. Well, at least there's two more, because now we're going to talk about it a little bit. Yeah, my reaction to that was basically just, we're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty much how I feel about any sort of climate news that comes out.
Yeah.
Because scientists said recently that we have like 11 years to like fix, well, not even fix, to like slow it down. Like that's the best we can do is slow down the effects of climate change. But no one's going to make any changes to their lives, you know. I also read apparently the recent study came out. You know what's apparently the best thing you can do to try and save the planet?
What?
Become a vegan.
Yeah, well, I was just reading because someone's asking, like, what the heck can regular people do to help this? And somebody replied saying, use public transport rather than driving your car. Buy local products with essential packaging only, you know, none of this superfluous, all this extra packaging.
Yep.
Eat less meat, preferably locally sourced. But most importantly, go out and vote for candidates that support climate change action.
Yeah, rather than voting for climate change deniers, which happened in America. I'm referring to Trump.
Yeah, I kind of assumed that.
Yeah, those sort of news is just further and further proof just how like climate change is an issue, and I don't think the regular people are doing enough. Like governments aren't doing enough, regular people aren't doing enough, and corporations aren't. No one's doing anything about it.
Yeah.
We're all too busy just pointing the finger at each other.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah, I mean, we have an entire episode on... Yeah, well, because we talked
about it with AJ.
Yeah.
I don't remember if we discussed it.
Well, we were talking about the whole...
We've talked about, like, plastic bags and all that kind of thing.
Which sort of melded into climate
and cleaning
change.
up beaches and stuff.
Yeah.
It's been on the podcast a few times, this topic. And since starting this podcast, actually, Matt and I have also done nothing about it, so...
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Because the answer is, I don't really want to be a vegan, so...
like,
what the heck am I meant to do? And
like,
public transport in Auckland is pretty damn close to useless.
Yeah. I mean, I still don't drive, so that's my thing.
Yeah, there you go. Matt makes his way.
Yeah, I walk everywhere pretty much.
Do you walk to work?
Yeah, I walk to work.
Really?
Cool. I walked here.
Oh yeah.
It's
not that far
to our location.
Here. But work's a bit further.
Yeah.
How long does that take?
20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Probably a little bit less, like 15 maybe.
Oh, that's not as bad as I thought.
Yeah. I walked home from school back in the day. That was like 2.5k walk every day.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Let's just keep going with this.
Yeah. What's the next headline now?
Environmental news.
Oh, it's still on the
Amazon tribe wins legal battle against oil companies preventing drilling in Amazon rainforest.
I heard about that.
That's so cool.
That's dope.
And they're all like sitting in these chairs, like celebrating.
Yeah.
In this courtroom, it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, because like the oil corporation would have had like multi-million-dollar like lawyers. You know what I mean? Like could have afforded really good lawyers. And that's such an I love underdog stories. Like underdog stories are great. That's like a perfect example of it. So,
And someone commented, alternative title, Amazon tribe win the right to live in the home they've already been living in.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
after this giant corporation comes in, tries to destroy their homes.
Yeah.
Speaking of homes, do you have tomatoes in your home? Because this one's about tomatoes, not about homes.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said speaking of homes. Store-bought tomatoes taste bland. That's true. That's why I don't like tomatoes. They're bland, but they're watery. They also have this weird, like, they have this weird flavor that's kind of half sweet, half savory. They just feel like they ruin things to me. So I'm not a big fan. Unless they're like roasted, sliced and roasted.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll eat them like on a pizza or something.
Yeah.
Usually I just not a fan. Anyway, store-bought tomatoes taste bland, and scientists have discovered a gene that gives tomatoes their flavor is actually missing in about 93% of modern domesticated varieties. This discovery may help bring flavor back to tomatoes. Boom. There you go. Science actually can make life better. Who knew?
All right. So, you know what pizza reminds me of? Childhood parties.
We weren't talking about pizza.
You know what reminds me of childhood? TV shows. Guess what we're talking about today? That's right. Top 5 childhood TV shows. Boom. That's our top 5. All right. I'm kicking us off with number 5. My number 5 pick is a New Zealand show. Hell yeah. Represent. So I was like, okay, so I'll preface this all by saying I wanted to mix up. I like to mix up my list as much as possible, right? So basically, I've got certain, like, each sort of pick I picked it for a different reason. This first one is your typical childhood, like, talk show sort of variation.
Childhood talk show?
Or, like, childhood, like
oh,
kids,
is it like Studio 2?
Sorry. Close. What Now?
Oh, yeah.
What Now is my number 5 pick.
Not a talk show.
I
don't know what.
A variety show, then.
Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. Variety show. Yeah, so it's a New Zealand made show. I remember watching it as a kid and enjoying it, you know. It was on Sunday mornings, I believe.
Yeah.
And there was, I'll just start off my Sunday morning watching a bit of that. Usually I would, because it started like really early, eh?
8.
Feel like 8 or something.
8 till 10, I believe.
Yeah. And I feel like I ended up watching it at like 9.
Right.
Like
yeah.
missing half the episode because I always wake up late.
I think that's the purpose of it.
Yeah.
Is that it goes for so long you can just join in whenever.
Yeah, so I just just good entertaining stuff back in the day, and again just wanted a little bit of variation in my list there, hence why it's picked and why it's so low.
Yeah.
Is because
it's bad?
No, not that it's bad, it's just it's not as good as my other pick. And you'll see why as when I get to them in terms of their variations on my list.
I was actually on one episode.
I was as well.
Really?
Yeah.
You in Christchurch?
Yeah.
You went down to Christchurch to be on What Now?
No, I travelled to Christchurch.
Oh,
and while we were there,
right,
we got on What Now.
what a fun situation. I'm stuck, to be honest, because I wrote a list.
Yeah.
But most of them are basically only worth honourable mentions. I definitely have a top 4, but my number 5, I just rewrote. I wrote down. Almost doesn't even deserve to be a number 5, only because I didn't watch it that much. That's The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
Oh, interesting. All right.
And like, because it was a Disney Channel show, and I didn't have Sky, which is where you get Disney Channel.
Yeah.
I didn't have that at home, so I only watched it when we were either at someone else's place, which had Sky, or in like up in Hamner Springs, which is like just like 90 minutes north of Christchurch, which is like it's a typical tourist holiday spot.
Yeah.
Where you go like 2 or 3 times a year. Sometimes I don't know. You go a bit, and the place we stayed at had Sky, and I would spend most of my days watching Disney Channel and all that, and Nickelodeon and stuff.
Right.
Or like the early mornings, always we just watch, because constantly there's just so much shows you're gonna watch.
Yeah.
So that's all I did, and that's one of the shows that I remember liking a lot.
All right.
There you have it.
Fair enough. All right. So my number 4 is my animated pick, and that is.
I'm actually quite surprised you can only have one animated pick.
Because I wanted to vary the list up as much.
Yeah, but like the majority of kid shows are animated, so you're discounting a lot of things.
Here's my thing as well, though. Right, I definitely, though, even when I was little, I definitely think I have a preference towards live action over animated stuff. And I think that was like because sort of the major shit that I watched was Disney Channel, like live action Disney Channel shows,
Mm.
as well as Nickelodeon shows, and I didn't really like. I had a lot of mates who like watched Cartoon Network and that.
Yeah, I never got into Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
Just one. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So it's interesting. I think a lot of kid shows I just didn't get into, and majority of those shows were cartoons
Yeah.
that I didn't get into. However, one cartoon animated show that I did get into was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Man, I had like a bunch of that on DVD, man, and I would watch that stuff. And no, I just remember enjoying it like heaps. Like I was obsessed, man. Like so like here's the thing, right? I had a system as well in place, right? So whenever something was bad, I'd call it a Raphael, because red is like a bad, red's like a danger, like a danger color, you know? And then if something was good, it was a Leonardo, because blue was good in my head, in 6-year-old Matt's head, or however old I was when I was watching TMNT. And I was just entertaining stuff, man, So yeah, that's my number 4 pick, TMNT.
My number 4 pick. It's another one that I think mostly I only watched on Sky, but I think it did come to like TV3 or something at some point. And it's Drake and Josh.
Oh yeah,
one of the good ones that still stands the test of time.
Yeah,
I actually watched a few episodes last year, maybe, or the year before. No, year before, because it's on Neon. I just had
Holds
like
up.
What?
Holds up.
The show holds up.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I think it's hilarious. I think it's great. Yeah, I just had a free trial and I was going through some old episodes. Man, I sound.
You sound so bad.
It's
like legitimately.
Drake and Josh is a great show. Go watch it, but don't use Neon because Neon's trash.
All right. Ever guess what my number 3 pick is? Drake and Josh. So Drake and Josh, that's my Nickelodeon pick. So you'll see. Like I tried to vary my.
You've
list.
narrowed yourself too far.
Yeah.
4 out of 5 of mine are Nickelodeon.
Yeah. So like mine, I varied mine on purpose. Yeah. So number 3 is my Nickelodeon pick. Drake and Josh was like my go-to Nick show. Probably. Yeah. I mean, also for a start, can we talk about the fact I only realized this like I think it was last year. So the song. So how the song. So how the theme song. Did you realize it's realign, not realize? The lyric.
It's gonna take a time
to realign. It's not realize.
Didn't know that actually.
I saw there was this video and Drake Bell who played Drake was performing the because he's a musician, right? So he was performing the theme song and everyone was singing along and they sang everyone was like and realize and then he was like no stop no guys it's realign and everyone was shook because they were singing along wrong lyric wrong lyric the entire time. So there you go. It's everyone. It is realign, not realize.
Good to know.
Drake and Josh, fabulous show, fabulous theme song rather. Yeah, just a really funny show and just a great dynamic between the two. Between the two main actors. Like I loved their interaction and stuff. Yeah, good show.
Yeah, man. Number 3. This is the one that I probably didn't start watching till like I was in year 9, which sounds bad because it's probably one of the more childish ones, and that's SpongeBob SquarePants.
Nice.
Mate, even if I'd seen the episodes before, I would watch this like every day, man. Like obviously, literally the best stuff is like the first 3 seasons in the movie. And then like they lost the original creators. I mean, the original creator left after that point, and it was definitely a lot. You could tell the difference quite easily when watching the show. And usually the reruns that they gave us on TVNZ were the more recent. They were either the oldest ones, which aren't quite peak SpongeBob season 2 and 3. The oldest ones are like they're fine episodes, but like they're a little like on the boring side.
Yeah.
And then 4 to 57 or whatever how many seasons they have is like 11 or something. Like a clear step down, and stylistically they changed the animation as well a bit.
Right.
But it was just still something that I would just tune into all the time because I don't know why. It was just like the thing. It was, I guess it's because it's the one show that was literally on TV2 every day after
it was
school.
on all the time, I swear.
Like, they would rotate between other shows that they would also show up at other points. But they would never stop playing SpongeBob.
Yeah.
It was always SpongeBob. Whether it was when in the Studio 2 days to the Aaron Simpson days.
Yeah, and it was always the lead into like other
even
shows
before
as well.
Studio 2. I can't remember what it was, but there was another show. And all I remember about that show is that they had Lemingtons.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know what the heck it was. It was like, the precursor to Studio 2.
Yeah.
But there it is. I'm going to shut up and...
You're number 3.
Oh, but hold on. Actually, I've probably talked about it before, but the movie's really good. Like, I love that movie.
Yeah.
And I haven't even seen the second one. I've heard that one's quite good because the original creator came back for that one as well.
All right. So my number 2 pick, while Ben is dying, still dying, is my Disney Channel pick.
Hannah Montana.
No.
Damn.
Sweet Life of
is
Zach and
dark.
Cody. I loved that show, man. As a kid, like, oh man, you got the Sprouse twins in there, right? You got Ashley Tisdale in there. You know,
I
like,
forgot about her.
What a show. I mean, one of the funniest episodes I remember, because I also, so like I did watch High School Musical back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things, they had one episode where they were doing like High School Musical, like it was after High School Musical came out, and they were doing High School Musical, and Ashley Tisdale was like, I think I'm gonna go for Sharpay. I've been told I look like her, and everyone was like, I don't see it. It was just, I thought it was really funny because it was just, one of those meta jokes, and I was like, nice.
Mate, those guys were ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Meta's like the thing these days.
Yeah, meta's so popular.
Now, do you agree with me that Sweet Life on Deck is considerably less entertaining than the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not nearly as good, eh?
Yeah.
That's the point where it turned into like what today is like a typical Disney show.
Well, there's 100% been a drop of quality in Disney.
Oh,
since, I think like the heyday was in those 2000s, or the shows in the 2000s. Since then, there's been a decline.
Yeah.
I was sort of similar to you with in regards with SpongeBob. Mine was though with basically just some of the Disney Channel shows. I was still watching Disney Channel up until like year 8, and then I stopped. And then I was like, oh, I should probably stop. I'm going to high school.
Yeah.
They're like in high school, like everyone's talking about what they're watching. What are you watching? Oh, I'm watching like. I can't
It's
remember
weird,
what I was
like
watching
you don't
right now.
think about it until you're at that age, because like it's like a ritual for you. You get home from school, you turn on the TV, and it's the same show, or the same, or or a show that has the same audience,
Yeah.
So you grow up, and the shows stay at the same level of maturity,
Yeah.
But you don't realize that because it takes so long for you to grow up.
Yeah.
You don't realize that maybe you don't need to watch those shows anymore.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think what I liked, like the cast was good with Sweet Life and Zack. It was just an entertaining show, Yeah, it was just good, and I think the other day I actually rewatched an episode, and by the other day I mean like yesterday or like 3 months ago or 6 months ago. It was probably more like 6 months ago, probably longer than that. But having said that, I was surprised by how much I still enjoyed the episode. Yeah, I know. So that's my number 2 pick.
Number 2, that's a high regard.
In high regard.
I mean,
high steam.
like I said, the reason it's like the lowest on my list is because I didn't watch it. Like it was never on free-to-air TV.
Yeah, because I was a rich shore boy, so I had Sky growing up.
My number 2 is one of the only shows on this list that actually like is not just like entertaining, but it's satisfying, and that's because I think it had 3 or 4 seasons, and it like had a full arc. And it ended, and it was satisfying. And that's Ned's Disclassified School Survival Guide.
Oh, hell yeah. That show was dope.
Damn, the show is
I
good.
agree with you with that, man.
Like,
don't have it on my list, but should have.
Yeah, you should have.
Yeah, I should have. I should have chucked it as an honorable mention. Oh, well.
There's nothing like this show. This is just a brilliant show.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say about it. It's really, like, clever and funny. And dramatic and emotive, and it's everything you need in a show, and it's a kids' TV show, and it's great, and that's why it's my number 2.
Yeah, I just I thought sort of clever concept, and that each episode usually dealt with like a part of high school and how to like quote.
Oh, it was
unquote.
middle school, actually.
Sorry, middle school.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, been a while since.
I'd say it's one of the more memorable shows because I can quite clearly remember many episodes.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Whereas I can't really remember quite as distinctly Sweet Life or Drake and Josh.
Right. All right. Time for our honorable mentions then. I'm gonna rattle mine off real quick.
Yeah, man.
And by real quick, I mean real quick, except for the first one. And then I'll be. All right. First one, Wizards of Waverly Place. This just missed out. I loved that show, man. I loved that show.
Yeah.
What a show!
It was alright.
Like in a similar vein that you were talking about and actually remembering episodes. I actually remember a lot of those episodes and like rewatching episodes and stuff as a kid. All right, now we're rattling off real quick. Sticky TV, Jimmy Neutron, Sweet Life on Deck just missed out. It missed out because Zach and Cody bit it out, right? That's why I missed out.
I mean, also it's not even that good. Like, it's just not even that good.
Yeah.
Like, maybe in the first season there were some good episodes.
Yeah.
But then after that it was just like, let's make crossovers and I don't know. It was just.
To be fair, with the cross,
it got quite dumb.
in the crossover thing. They had some of the best fucking crossover episodes.
Did they,
They
though?
were dope, man.
Did they,
I
though?
fucking love them.
I thought they
was
were
like,
just.
hey.
I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. And then my last honorable mention is iCarly, which I liked back in the day. So those are my honorable mentions. Hit me, Ben, with your honorable mention.
Number one, Phineas and Ferb, and this is like probably the most recent one on my list. And I was watching that a few years ago, even because it's on Netflix, or some of the seasons are on Netflix. It's great. It's actually so great, and it holds up. It's hilarious. Really great show. I just get really sick of how every episode has like a song in it.
Yeah.
It's just like, is it necessary?
Same.
I feel like I remember in the first season at least, like they didn't all have songs. But maybe I'm wrong. But in the later,
No, you're right.
You're right. I'm right.
Yeah, I remember watching an interview or something. And they said, I can't remember when they said it.
Right.
But it was a certain episode that changed.
Right.
The creators were talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it might have been a Comic-Con panel that I watched.
Yeah, I can see that. Anyway, so that's like another show that you just like you watch some episodes and it's great, but like it's not one that you follow along with.
Right.
So much. So these next ones are shows that I would actually like follow along with and try to watch every week, you know. On like Saturday morning or whatever it was. So The Batman, The Spectacular Spider-Man, Transformers Animated, Lilo and Stitch, and Yu-Gi-Oh! There were some great ones.
Yeah.
And then there's Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?, which is the really old one, and Thunderbirds, which I don't even know when that was made, but I used to love those shows. But I think I just had a couple DVDs of like real old seasons.
Yeah.
So I never actually watched them on. They never played on TV. And then obviously you have your classics from like when you're like a real like baby little kid, like Thomas and Friends, Bob the Builder, and Blue's Clues.
Yeah.
Which are, you know, the ones that everyone watches as a kid, but like, and those are the ones I remember the most, but I couldn't tell you anything about what happens in those shows.
Same.
So yeah.
Yeah. Especially Thomas the Tank Engine and especially Bob the Builder. Bob the Builder almost made my list. Because I wanted to like with my list, because I've talked about it before, I like to sort of vary my lists up as much as possible. And so I wanted like a slot that was like the baby show sort of slot. Yeah, so it was going to take that slot, but then I decided...
Plot twist, it's his number one.
No, in the complete opposite vein, growing up, I watched a lot of shows that I shouldn't have watched when I was a kid. You know what I mean? They were either A, R-rated, or B, adults only, and this is one of those shows.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, that's what adults only is.
Yeah. So these
equal to R-rated.
Yeah. So these shows are like for example, South Park, your South Parks, your Family Guys, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But taking on the Americans once again, New Zealand sneaks right in. My number one pick, Brotown.
Oh, yeah.
What a show. All right, it was on my top 5 TV shows. All right, so it deserves to be on this list as well. Because what a show. Like, hilarious, funny, right? Like, it cracked me up as a kid. And it was one of those shows where I did follow it, you know, all throughout. Like I'd wait for it to come on TV, you know what I mean? And I'd be like psyched for the next episode. So much so that I was really sad when the last episode came out. And I think I was like 10 or something when it came out. So definitely like part of my childhood, you know, was that show. And it was a Kiwi show as well, which is dope. A little bit of NZ representation in my list as well. So that is my top number one.
Cool, man. Well, just like you've got one from your top 5 list, TV show list, I mean. My favorite
I think I know
children's
what it
show
is.
of all time. I don't think it's any surprise. It's my second favorite TV show, period. And that's Avatar: The Last
I
Airbender.
knew it!
I mean, would you have known if I didn't say it's on my top 5?
No, because so I was doing some research, like looking at shows and stuff.
Oh, okay, and you came across it.
And I came across it, and I was like, if that's not number one, I'll be gobsmacked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was considering just not counting it because it had already been on that list. And it like transcends children's television. But then I was like, nah, I'm going to be true to myself. Like, I like, because I watched it if I didn't watch it as a kid, then it wouldn't have been on the list. But because I did watch it as a kid when it was like first airing here in New Zealand. So brilliant show. One of the best written shows of all time.
You have talked about it at length.
I have. Go back and watch our very second ever episode. The audio sounds crap, but I mean,
to be fair,
it's not that much worse than listening to me right now.
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Go ahead and listen to that. You'll hear me talk about it a bit more.
Yeah, though that is a bit of a spoiler of episode 2 of the podcast.
I mean, I guess so. I mean,
to
be honest, the only one that I really would like look forward to hearing, I guess, is the number 1. So like,
that's fair
whatever.
enough. That's fair enough. So I think it's interesting because I feel like spoilers, and I don't know about you, Ben, if you feel the same way, but I feel like the whole spoiler culture is a recent thing.
Define recent.
Like people, but maybe more towards people actually like talking about spoilers and the act of spoiling something. I feel like people care about it more than they did back in the day. Yeah,
but like I would say, from what I can think of, the first time I probably heard about the term spoilers being used was maybe like 2012.
Yeah.
Maybe around that kind of time.
Yeah.
When you started getting big TV shows. Is that when Game of Thrones started? I don't know. Probably something like that.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah.
And like you had the Avengers and stuff. I don't know. I don't really have any thoughts of that I can think of.
Yeah, I know, because, that's sort of my major thing is, like, it being sort of a recent, relatively is the word I should probably use there, relatively recent phenomenon. The other question I had that I wanted to ask was, how long does someone have to watch a movie that comes out?
It depends on the movie. It depends.
In terms of, like, you know what I mean? In terms of, like, spoilers and stuff. Because I feel like there's, like, a room. Like,
I personally prefer, even if, like, if it's like, a classic movie that everyone says is great that I haven't seen, and if it came out 20 years ago, I don't want to hear a spoiler for it because I probably want to watch that movie at some point.
Yeah.
But if it's like the most recent Transformers movie, then I don't care, right? Yeah. Because I had no intention to watch that, or even if I did, who cares? So it depends on the movie. Like, I guess it depends on how good the movie is and how high prestige it is and how much you want to watch it. If it's a movie that you expect most people should watch, then you shouldn't spoil it for them. Even if they didn't intend to, if they ever do, you having spoiled it for them could ruin that experience.
Right.
You know? So I'm always very, very sensitive and careful about spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I give them two weeks.
See, so did... Actually, I don't know how long it was. It was only a few weeks before the Russo brothers announced that people would share spoilers online for Avengers.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. I think with that movie in particular, like, you did just have to go see it. Like, I kind of understood that point of view, and, like, spoilers were going to get out. So, like, you had to go see it. But if it's a movie like John Wick 3, right?
Yeah.
That's not a movie that everyone necessarily needs to go see immediately. They might just want to wait for the DVD release or, the Blu-ray or whatever. Don't watch it on DVD. DVDs are... Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Don't watch DVDs. It's like speaking. It's like watching a DVD is like listening to a podcast with a guy who's got a broken, awful sounding voice. Yeah. So don't do it.
Are you telling people that they shouldn't listen to this podcast?
I mean, I don't blame. I do not blame anyone for turning off this podcast. Yeah. We'll just go back and listen to a different one.
Yeah, listen to one where Ben doesn't sound like shit.
Yeah, so, like, I think it's hugely dependent on... I think it's a case-by-case basis. It depends on the movie. If it's like a, classic, like, Psycho or some Kubrick movie or whatever, like, I don't want it to be spoiled for me because I'm probably going to watch those movies or whatever. It depends. Especially if it's one, like, with a plot twist or something. you should never tell someone that there is a plot twist in a movie.
Yeah, 'cause it
unless
sort
it's
of
like
ruins-
unless it's a terrible movie that no one cares about.
Yeah.
But it,
'Cause it sort of
Yeah.
ruins the plot to it. The fact
yeah,
that there
exactly.
is a
You
plot
know there's a
twist. Yeah,
plot
that's
twist
fair
coming.
enough.
You're just gonna be thinking about that the whole time, which ruins that. So
I mean, having said that, I did. Oh, I'm gonna spoil the movie if I talk about it. Shit. All right, I won't
Exact-
talk about it. Never mind.
good
Is it good?
that you caught yourself.
Yeah. Never mind. I will drop that thought and throw it away. Yeah. I mean, do you have any other thoughts?
I was actually
on
pleasantly surprised, I guess, by the culture around Avengers. How obviously Marvel themselves were pushing it, like don't spoil the end game kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
and most people took that on board. I didn't really hear many people like intentionally going out of their way to spoil things.
Yeah. I will say that it is 100% a dick move to spoil a film, especially if
It
you
is.
know the person wants to see that film.
Yeah. There's even cases where you do it accidentally. Like my friend, we went to see Avengers and it was like the third showing of the day or something. It wasn't the first one anyway. So there were people who had just come out basically.
Yeah.
And I went straight up to like the top to the entrance so that I wouldn't hear anyone because
Yeah.
in the IMAX theater anyway the entrance is separate from
Yeah.
the exit, so you won't hear people going right next to you. But I waited up top, and then my friend went into the bathroom,
Yeah.
and he
Big mistake.
yeah, I was like, I gotta go beforehand. Yeah, but even then, like, if you're in the bathroom of a movie theater and you just saw it in like the first or second showing, and you know that there are other people around, like, you should not be talking about the movie. You're in public. Do not talk about the movie. Anyway,
Yeah.
this guy. So my friend goes to the bathroom, and some guy was like, I can't believe they. And then like his friend, this other guy's like friend, was like, dude, shut up. There's other people who haven't seen it yet. And so he almost had it spoiled
Yeah.
for him, and he was so lucky that
That
other
there
guy
was
was
that
there,
other guy
just
was there,
to
yeah.
shut him up immediately.
Yeah.
And I thank you so much, whatever your name is, for doing that.
Yeah. That
Um,
guy, real MVP of the
Absolute
day.
bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's all I have to say on spoilers.
Yeah.
Don't
I
spoil
think,
things,
yeah, I
guys.
think don't basically, don't.
Here's a
spoil
question though. In your personal opinion,
Yep.
if, for example, somebody spoiled something for you,
things.
do you think it's fair for you to spoil something for them?
Did they do it deliberately?
Yeah, I'm saying if they did it deliberately.
Oh, they did it deliberately?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you think now?
No, I don't.
I mean, that's just a revenge thing, but
Yeah.
I personally probably wouldn't do it.
I think-
but I can understand the mentality behind.
I think maybe it depends because there's some movies like The Avengers, you know, where like it's literally the biggest movie ever.
Yeah.
Like, and just having that spoiled for you just ruins that experience. And I don't want anyone to have to experience Avengers in that way, you
Yeah.
know? So for me personally, if someone spoiled something for me, I'm not going to go to them and say, blah, blah, blah happens in Endgame, you know?
Yeah.
If they haven't seen it, whatever. Like, but if it's like Game of Thrones, and I don't care about Game of Thrones, and I know something about Game of Thrones that someone else doesn't, and they would dick to me, then maybe I would.
Yeah.
Because I don't care about Game of Thrones, so I don't care as much if it gets spoiled, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just, I don't know.
I think the rule of thumb is though, don't spoil shit.
Yeah, don't spoil shit. Don't do
All right. In that case, we'll move on to
it.
our next segment, which is called.
What you doing?
Yeah, so I have I've been watching lots of movies, but before I get to that, I heard, you know, the song Shallow by Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
I heard that, like, properly heard it for the first time when I was waiting, like, on a plane. That's a really bad song.
Really?
It's a genuinely terribly written song. It's just, like, so repetitive and boring, and I don't know why anyone likes that song. That's it. That's all I got to say about that. Anyway, I watched some movies. So I
Yeah.
saw John Wick 3.
Yep.
And for all my movie thoughts, by the way, you can go to letterboxd.com/the
visit.
real close and read my reviews because I wrote things about all of them. But I'm going to say some stuff I didn't even say in those reviews. And it's this dumb, this is not spoilers, but there's this dumb thing with John Wick 3 that bugs me so much is that they're in public places quite a lot, like in train stations or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's some scenes where people are like literally stabbing each other in public, and it's
doesn't.
very obvious, and everyone's just walking by, you
Yeah.
know, on their daily route or whatever, like not reacting at all.
Yeah.
And that's just one nitpick that just annoyed me so much, so I just had to point that out.
All right.
I saw Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
I felt this movie was a lot like Ready Player One
Mm.
in the sense that it had this awesome kind of world and concept, but its story just didn't
live up to
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
It was just like real bland and basic and tropey. Yeah, it was like the spectacle first, story like third. Like they didn't care about the story. It was all about making this awesome Flash spectacle, which was Flash and awesome, but doesn't make a good movie.
Right.
Like there was a whole sequence with these like giant turtle things launching out of the ground, like and like the people were on the turtles. And like, because it's like a forest, and then it turns out it's a giant turtle, and then it goes nowhere. It goes nowhere. It's just such a pointless sequence, because you expect that the turtles are going to have some sort of impact on the plot.
Yeah.
But they don't at all. They get off the turtles, and then the turtles go back down, and then I sound like I'm just saying I sound like I'm talking like nonsense, because that's what the movie was. It's just so stupid. And then before I go to the Letterboxd app to try and find the rest of the movies that I watched, I was going to mention that Kevin Feige, president of Marvel Studios, did an AMA on Reddit, on the Marvel Studios Reddit, which was really awesome. And the most awesome thing ever happened, which was that somebody asked, do you ever plan to introduce the real Mandarin, who is in the comics like Iron Man's like greatest villain, and in Iron Man 3 we had what was an actor portraying the Mandarin, and so it wasn't like the real deal, and like a lot of people were quote unquote offended by that, which to which I say, just grow some comedy. What's it called? Get a sense of humor. Like, I don't know. Like I think I've talked about it before. I don't really get why people get so offended when things change from the source material,
Yeah.
It's like, it's not like the Sonic thing where like a physical design of a character like it's not even just inaccurate. It's like straight up like there was no reason to change it, and now it just looks terrible. Whereas like in Iron Man 3, the reason they did that is because it made for an amazing movie. It was a great little plot twist there.
Yeah.
Anyway, what they did is there's this like short film called All Hail the King, where you see Trevor Slater, the actor, in prison. It's like a 10-minute short film, came out with For the Dark World. Like it's probably one of my favorite pieces of MCU canon. Which is a little short film about him, and in the end, it's revealed that like this guy who's like interviewing him for like a documentary is like actually like working for the quote unquote real Mandarin, and they either come to kill Trevor or to abduct him, which is just this amazing tease that came out in 2013 and hasn't been, delivered upon further than that.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to hear that they do have plans for him, so that's gonna happen. And then I'm real going to quickly, because we haven't actually recorded in like 3 weeks or something, so I've got plenty of movies that I've watched since, including In Time, which you mentioned on
the remake
podcast. That's
I
right.
Still haven't seen.
And man, I had so much shit to say about this movie. Like, it's basically like you say, it has a great concept. And actually had some great lines of dialogue in there as well, but
They just completely missed.
yeah.
Swing and miss.
I watched Zoolander, like, in the background. It was just on, and so I watched that, and that was kind of like, okay, cool, there's a movie.
Yeah.
Not much to say about that.
Underwhelming.
It wasn't underwhelming. I wouldn't say that, because it's exactly basically what I expected it was going to
okay.
be,
Yeah.
So I wasn't disappointed or anything. Like, it was just like, okay, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
There we go. Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. Really great movie. That I finally watched, and go watch it, man. That's such a great one, such a great little coming of age story. John Wick 3, I watched Kick-Ass 2, and that one was very entertaining. I like that a lot. It's very like, it's not like a great, fantastic movie. I just enjoy it because it's just like so much fun. And then I finally saw Shazam.
Oh yeah.
And there was a lot of that was quite entertaining, especially towards like the end. It got like exponentially more funny like throughout.
Yeah.
But it was still like pretty bogged down with like this whole subplot about like these demon kind of monster things, and it's just like, just stop. I don't care.
Yeah.
Just make it a fun movie, And I also watched The Darjeeling Limited, which is a Wes Anderson film, which is really, really beautiful. And if you're a Wes fan, I highly recommend. It's one of his best easily. I haven't seen all of his films yet, but it's one of his most well-crafted movies, I would say. And then I watched Kong Skull Island in anticipation for Godzilla King of Monsters, which I watched. I really enjoyed Kong. There were some awesome, amazing sequences in there that I really want to watch again with surround sound, because, man, like, they were really exciting, and I was missing out on a lot because I was just using stereo speakers. And then I did watch Godzilla King of Monsters and it was dog shit.
Mm.
Do not watch the movie unless you're like a massive monster movie fan. Maybe you'll probably like it because there's a lot of it's very monster movie-ish. Like it's all about these monsters fighting, and that's very much what it is. But it's also like super bogged down with all these other characters that just make no sense and I don't care about. And terrible movie. And I watched Brightburn, which is the Superman turns evil kind of thing, but he's like a 10-year-old. And that was, he's 12 or something, I don't know. And that was very well made, but it definitely left me like with this weird feeling afterwards because like I don't like, as I've talked about, I don't watch a lot of horrors. And for some reason this one affected me, I think, more than any other one of the horrors that I have seen. And that afterwards I was just like, I felt really like tense.
Yeah.
I felt like angry for like no reason.
Yeah.
It just made me feel real weird. It's like I kind of don't want to watch that movie again, even though I quite enjoyed a lot of it. It's just like, yeah, it had this weird effect. So if you have been intrigued by that movie, I do recommend it. If you are into that kind of thing, if you're not a fan of horror, then I definitely don't recommend it because it's exactly what you hate in horror movies, probably. But yeah, really well made. And then just this morning, I watched Citizen Kane. Finally,
it was good.
That was a little bit boring, I guess, but also well made. I guess. I mean, that's what everyone says. Of course, it's well made. It's like one of the pioneering kind of films.
Yeah.
In history. But I felt like it was just. It had a fun story. I just felt like the structure of it was just weird. It felt like a documentary. And so I couldn't find myself kind of involved with the plot. I couldn't, like, it was just like, it felt like I was just watching a documentary. Like I was observing more than being involved in the plot.
It was more...
Like with Casablanca, for example, which is around the same time period. I felt a lot more connected to the characters and involved in that plot. And like felt like I was being part of that story with Citizen Kane. It was like a newsreel, like literally it starts off with like a newsreel and then, but it felt like it was that the whole way through. Because it's like from the perspective of a reporter who's learning about all these events, and it feels like I'm just watching that like a straight out documentary. And it had entertaining parts, I guess, but like, yeah, it just didn't captivate me. Yeah. So
interesting. You talking about what you want to see?
Oh my goodness. I always forget that we have this half of the segment. What I do want to see is Rocket Man, because everyone says that that's great.
Yeah.
And so I'm probably going to go see that one at some point. I want to rewatch Avengers Endgame. Hopefully they put it back in IMAX, because I want to see it in IMAX again. Maybe before Spider-Man comes out, they'll put it back in IMAX, I don't know. And then I also want to see Booksmart, whenever that comes out. I think it comes out in July.
Yeah.
It came out in the US like last week.
Yeah.
And everyone's talking about it, and I was like, need to see that. So yeah, that's all I've thought about.
All right. Yeah, so I've watched...
Oh, wait.
What?
I forgot something.
Yeah.
I've been starting to watch The Dark Tourist on Netflix.
Okay, yeah.
So I've watched like the first 3 episodes. That's the David Farrier Netflix documentary about him going around the world to these crazy, insane places. And it's so cool. It's so interesting. But it's like real weird. And it leaves this weird feeling with you. Like it's really tense at times and like uncomfortable feeling at times. So like it's not a series you can binge. You know, you need to take a break after at least like 2 episodes. But I recommend it, definitely. If you get freaked out by the first episode, then maybe don't continue. Because it doesn't get better.
Yeah. All right. So I've been watching a lot of films lately, especially like within this week. Basically averaged like a film a day pretty much. So I've seen heaps, but I'm just going to talk about 2 real quick. So the first one was one that I really enjoyed, and that was Rashomon, which is a 1950s Japanese film directed by Akira, I'm going to mispronounce his name.
Kurosawa.
That.
Like, I might have got that wrong. That's just how I think it's said.
Yeah. Really, really interesting film, I thought, mainly in the fact that, and this isn't a spoiler, it basically follows like three conflicting stories, and so we have to like work out which one is true and stuff like that, and who's lying and stuff like that, which I thought was really interesting how he did that. Yeah, and just like really well shot, really well blocked and directed, and yeah, so that was one film that I saw. The other film that I saw, which I didn't enjoy at all, I thought it was actually a really bad movie, was Eraserhead, which is a David Lynch film. Okay, so I knew going into it, it's a weird film. It's a really weird film because it's a David Lynch film. I have a really high tolerance for like weird films and stuff, you know what I mean? And I sort of knew that going in, but I just couldn't do it. You know what I mean? Like
Really?
10 minutes into the film, I knew I was just like, I don't like this.
Really?
And I kept watching it, hoping that it would get better.
Oh man.
And it didn't. Having said that, the sound design of the film was really it was like really well done. Weird and because of the nature of the film. But that was like the only like good thing about it. I thought everything else was just too weird, too much. Basically, I wrote the review, and my review just said I tried, I really did, and then said not a big fan. Like gonna give a fat no to surrealism. I just don't think I'm a fan of that. It's called school of thought in terms of art, because I've also looked at like surrealist paintings and stuff. I'm also like, what the fuck are you doing? You know? Yeah. So those are the two. Those are two of many films that I've seen. If you want to find out the other films that I've watched, you should check me out on Letterboxd. I'm Matt_5. And so the other thing I want to talk about is stuff that I've been up to. So I turned 20. Like 2 days ago. I know math. Yeah. So I turned 20. So that was cool. Had a
You
party.
young child.
Of which, yes, very young. I'm the baby of the company.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, by like 2 weeks, I think, like 1 or 2 weeks. Like Tasha's just older than me.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he was turning 21 this year.
Tash, are you 20 or 21? Can you say in the 20? He's 20. There you go.
Yeah.
Thought so. Yeah, but
So he's way older than you. He's not by 2 weeks.
What?
He's a lot older than you. He's older than you by like at least like half a year.
Tash, when were you born?
You only just turned 20. He's been 20 since last year.
No, he turned 20 on the 16th of May.
Wait.
He was born in 1999.
Oh, I'm confused.
So he's only just older than me.
Oh, okay. I got it the wrong way.
Thank you, Dash.
I thought you were saying he was
I'm saying
like his birthday wasn't 2 weeks from now.
No. I was saying his has already been. He's just older than me.
Oh, okay.
I'm like just the baby of the company.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, there we go. And the other thing I've been doing, I've just been working on like a hell of a lot of projects, developing some of them for Red Life Riot. Some obviously can't talk about them too much. So yeah, I got 3 script ideas that I'm working on and developing, and then also doing other projects that I'm working on, as well as, and I've just started doing the 30-day song challenge, which is cool.
What's that?
Basically you get a prompt for each day. So like day 1 was a song that you like. Basically it's so each day you pick a song, but it has a prompt. So it would be like, so the first one was a song that has a color in the title, and so then you can pick any song that you like. So it's basically just sharing music and stuff like that with people on social media. And I've been doing that. I've been doing that on Instagram, which again, you can see me on at Matt_247. No, sorry, MB_247.
What?
There we go. Yeah, and that's what I've been up to. What I want to do is I have a very, very, very large watch list still on Letterboxd. At the moment, I'm prioritizing like shorter movies over longer movies. So films that I want to see. Weekend, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Modern Times, The Garden of Woods, and Moonrise Kingdom. Oh, and Free Solo as well are on my watch list. So hopefully I'll see some of those, but I probably won't.
You know what else I'm going to do?
What's that?
I think by the time this podcast comes out, it'll have already happened. But next week, it happened today actually, and also next Sunday. There is short documentary films playing at Dock Edge.
Yes.
And two of which came out of South Seas last year.
South Seas represent.
So if well, like I said, it's probably already happened. But if it hasn't, go to Dock Edge and watch those short films because they're really good.
They are. They are really good.
The ones from South Seas are. Who knows about the others?
Yeah.
I expect they will also be good. So I'll probably go to that next week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, so looks like we don't have any comments, therefore our section Crunchy Comments is once again completely useless. So in order for that segment to work, people need to comment. And they could do so on any of our social medias. We are on pretty much all of the social medias, so you should follow us there. I'm going to very, very quickly wrap this up. Also, you can support us on Patreon. Any money invested to us is invested straight back into the company to buy better equipment and stuff like that. However, if you're broke and you can't support us in monetary ways, you can support us by just sharing us on social media and stuff like that. It's free, so you should do it. All right. I've been Matt. And that's Ben, who may or may not die before the end of this, before this comes out. All right. See you guys. Thanks. Jesus.